RareGem Productions, proudly presenting, promoting, and producing positive programs. From RareGem Productions, this is Let's Get It Together.
Support for Let's Get It Together comes from the Kwame Building Group, delivering total value through pure construction and program management services.
In the classroom, grab a notepad. Today we learn about feeding our lives.
And the things that are the sources of love or meaning or joy or fulfillment in our lives. If we were to do an energy audit, where does our energy go? In a typical day, where do we put our energy? Really, they get the least amount of our attention.
Isn't that something?
So we're not feeding them, but we're wanting them to be central. And the thing about not feeding them is they feed us. So we're not feeding them and they feed us and we're wondering why we're hungry.
Rebeccah Bennett, founder of the InPower Institute, Center for Inspiration, Transformation, and Empowerment. All this and more, so let's get it together. We'll be right back. I'm Jade Harrell.
Experience diversity. Experience excellence. Experience integrity. Experience Kwame, one of the nation's providers of pure construction management services. We represent the best interest of the client by ensuring on-time design, less litigation, and on-budget project delivery. Kwame Building Group, exceeding the expectations while embracing diversity every step of the way. Call 314-862-5344. That's 314-862-5344. Online at KwameBuildingGroup.com.
Calling all parents, parent groups, and community organizations. Next Chapter Educational Consulting is a resource designed just for you at 4144 Lindell Boulevard, Suite 507. If you're looking for ways to become more involved in your child's education, address academic concerns, scholarship opportunities, or increase parental involvement while ensuring your children are receiving a quality educational experience, call 314-289-9008. 314-289-9008. We are here to support you. Next Chapter Educational Consulting.
Let's get it together.
Come on in, everyone, and take your seats, please.
This is the classroom, where we get a front row seat to expert instruction, information, and access. You won't leave the way you came. This classroom is all about knowledge, and knowledge is power, and the power is yours. Now, let's get it together. Are you hungry for love, meaning, rest, joy, fulfillment in your life? Well, feed them. Those are the things that feed you. Our instructor today, Rebeccah Bennett, founder of the InPower Institute, Center for Inspiration, Transformation, and Empowerment. She says what we feed will grow. Energy and attention to those things that feed you will give you the energy and attention you need to live a fulfilled life.
Principal point that brought us together right now is the work that we're doing at InPower, the special class that I'm doing called Feed Your Life. That's a baby of mine, and it's a baby of mine not because it's useful for the world primarily, and it is useful for the world, but because more importantly it was useful for me, right? That's the way you can tell something is your calling or your work, is when it has direct benefits for your life, not just the lives of others, because if it doesn't have a consequence for you, then it's not going to be as impactful in the world. So it's the calling when it transforms you, and it also presents medicine to the world. And that's when it came to me, this sort of Feed Your Life program. And it's a very, very simple concept. And I may talk about it in 6 different ways, but really it's a simple concept. And that is whatever it is we feed with our energy and attention grows. It's true for children, and it's true for drama, and it's true for joy. Whatever it is we feed with our energy and our attention grows. Now, the challenge is that most of us are feeding things that drain us, or we're feeding things that limit us, or we're feeding things that just help us to maintain, right? But they don't bring the joy, or they don't bring the fulfillment, right? And so if that's what we're feeding, then that's what we're getting, right? But
because it's growing.
Because it's growing, right? So you can't feed the things that drain you and then hope for the life that's joyous.
You'll be in this constant tug of war.
Right. It doesn't
work. Or
work.
a state of unachieved hopefulness.
Absolutely.
Or disappointment, rather.
Or disappointment.
If that was the expectation.
That's right.
Woo.
But most of us do that, right?
Yes.
We're planting tomato seeds and
it's familiar.
thinking we're going to harvest eggplants.
Come on, girl.
It doesn't work. So, and the things that are the sources of love or meaning or joy or fulfillment in our lives, if we were to do an energy audit, that is, if we were to take a look at where does our energy go in a typical day, where do we put our energy? The things that are the sources of love and hope and faith and joy and da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, really, they get the least amount of our attention.
Isn't that something?
So we're not feeding them, but we're wanting them to be central. And the thing about not feeding them is they feed us. So we're not feeding them, and they feed us, and we're wondering why we're hungry or why we're starving. Well, because we're neglecting the very things that are the sources of fuel or are the ways that we connect to God. Because it turns out that those sources of love, what is love? God, right? So it turns out that the source of love or fulfillment or meaning in your life is really the easiest place for that divine energy to access and enter into your life. In just a really simple way. Go into church, which is a beautiful thing. That is a way to access, but built into us, every joy, right? Every dream, all of those are places where God is. And what happens is we don't connect to those places. And then we are hungry, but we're sitting at a buffet. So that's what God told me in my meditations. God said, look, you're sitting on a gold mine crying broke, or you're sitting at a buffet claiming that you're starving. It's all here. So instead of spending $9,000 on a new regimen or a new expert or a new this or new that, right, going outside of myself or seeking to change my external circumstances, really it's an empowering thing to know that I have within me the capacity and the resources right now, today.
Yes, immediately.
Immediately. This is not something I have to acquire. I have the capacity and the resources to energize the things that I love that love me. And if I do that, then I will experience a transformation in my experiences. Why? Because my energy is the seed, my experiences are the harvest.
Come on.
Still to come, we all have got-to-do lists. Those things that drive us and drag us through each day.
So the quality of presence that you bring to the activity then has a bearing on your experience.
It does.
What shapes the experience isn't simply the activity, it's the consciousness with which the activity is performed.
When we come back, discover how the same exercise can yield much richer experiences depending on the state of mind and the state of heart. I'm Jade Harrell.
Fellas, are you looking for a way to shed those extra pounds and get ripped? Ladies, do you want to slim down without looking bulky? Hi, I'm Brian, and let me show you the shortest way to the body of your dreams at BKM Fitness Bootcamp. Folks, I'm here to motivate you and teach you methods on how to achieve your personal goals. To maximize your results, class sizes are limited. So call BKM Fitness Bootcamp at 314-837-7782. Hey, and don't worry about keeping up. You'll survive.
Hi, this is Jade Harrell. It's springtime and it's time to give my friends a call at Second Chance Landscaping and Lawn Care. With lawn care starting at $25 per lawn. This includes mowing, edging, trimming, and clippings removed from sidewalks and driveways. Refer 3 of your friends. You receive equal service free of charge. Call 314-323-0696. That's 314-323-0696. Second Chance Landscaping and Lawn Care. Give them a chance and you'll call them again.
Let's get it together.
Class is back in session. Let's continue with Rebeccah Bennett, founder of the InPower Institute, Center for Inspiration, Transformation, and Empowerment.
But what about the got-tos?
Well,
Because you got to.
you are? Yeah. On some levels you have to, but the quality of presence that you bring when you are in love with your life to the got-tos is a very different one.
Can you explain?
So it turns out that if I am washing dishes, but I am doing so with a heart full of resentment,
And better. Come on.
or I'm really tired, I'm really drained, and I got a kitchen full of dirty dishes and stuff that has to happen, and I haven't bathed the baby, and it's 11 o'clock at night, and we got to get up at 5 in the morning, and we.
Have you been looking in my window?
I have been looking. I think we share a window.
We share that house.
Right? So the quality of presence that you bring to the activity then has a bearing on your experience.
It does.
What shapes the experience isn't simply the activity, it's the consciousness with which the activity is performed, right? On the other hand, if I am washing the dishes with joy in my heart,
That's right.
right? I'm thinking about, how I went to lunch with my husband today and how it was really good and how we had our favorite food and how we, right? Then the same exercise, the
same dishes
really brings a different experience.
Yeah.
So instead of me being resentful, I'm reflective and joyful. Right. Again, so it's what is the state of mind, what is the state of heart that we bring to the activity? I'm not telling people to get rid of your got-to list because truthfully, life requires a degree or measure of management.
Sure.
It does. But the magic is just our sense of infinite possibility, our sense of overflowing abundance and love. That can always be a constant companion.
Now, you say you can reacquire that instantly. Mm-hmm. Because it exists. It's here. But it's gotten muddied. Mm-hmm. How do you find it? How do you get off the treadmill?
Well, the first thing you do is you examine what are the sources of joy and love and meaning and fulfillment in your life. Mm-hmm. You actually have to give it some attention. That's what I mean.
You have to give that the attention to give them the attention.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. You don't have to, you don't have to pay big bucks, but you do have to pay attention, because attention is energy. Really, the only currency you have in this life is your energy. I mean, honestly, people spend a lot of time focused on how they spend their money, but they don't pay attention to how they spend their energy. And yet, how do you know that something is alive? It has energy, mm-hmm. right? If it doesn't have energy, we don't tend to think of it as living, mm-hmm. right? So the question is then, if energy is the way you express your life, if it is the stuff of life, then where are you placing your energy? Mm. Again, because energy is the seed and experiences are the harvest. So I say you got to free up some of that energy. Now, practically speaking, what is energy? It's attention. It's attention. It's your physical presence. It's your words. It's your deeds, right? All of these are energy. Mm-hmm. All of it is energy. So we say, let's take a look then. Let's just open up some space to say, what is it that really fulfills me? What is it that makes me feel better when I do it? Who is it that makes me feel better when I'm in their presence? What is it that gives me real meaning or hope? Right? You have to think about it. Mm-hmm. And whatever that list is, and it really doesn't matter. Right. So I'm not saying your list has to look a certain way. I mean, it could be dancing in the rain. It could be having a good conversation with a friend. Right. It could be sitting with your grandmother. It could be watching the kids play. It could be writing in your journal. It could be reading your favorite magazine. It could be pampering yourself. Mm-hmm.
But it's real.
But it's
not
real.
A surface, passing, slight, or temporary feel.
No, it's real.
This is what really brings me that joy.
Really brings me that joy. And a lot of people, if you ask them, say, well, I don't know. And the reason they don't know is because they don't give it any attention.
And now you got to, yeah.
So now just give it some attention, right? And don't weed out your list, right? Because we'll want the list to look a certain way. Mm-hmm. You know, who wants to say that what makes me feel good is being in my closet playing with my socks?
Right.
Okay.
Because then we worry.
Okay.
Oh,
so, you want it to, we have been conditioned to believe that the sources of joy in our lives need to look a certain way. They need to look culturally acceptable.
True.
And so I'm saying write a real list.
Okay.
If it's listening to rap music, then that's on your list.
That's on your list.
That's on your list.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And maybe it's not common as Kanye. Okay. Mm-hmm. That's you.
Or if you like watching Fat Albert every Saturday.
Exactly. Or if you like meditating, or if you like whatever.
And if you don't know, by giving it attention, you can discover by looking into, trying, and experiencing those things.
Absolutely.
Beautiful.
Absolutely. So come up with your list. And then prioritize the list. Right? So our ability to do everything when we already have to-do lists is really non-existent.
Got-to-do list.
Yeah, we have the got-to-do list. So take a look at maybe one or two things on that list. And then ask yourself, how can I give these one or two things a little bit more of my attention, my presence, my words, and my efforts for the next day, for the next week, for the next 2 weeks, for the next 3 weeks? How can I do that? If I were to just tithe a little bit more of my energy and attention to this one or two things, what would I do? And don't lock yourself into it. Do something one day. It could be that the way these things work is that they start to grow. And the next thing you know, another opportunity presents itself to you the following day. Mm-hmm. So you're not going to be able to think exactly through how all of the dynamics work. Just do something. Do something, and way will lead on to way.
Yeah.
Do something, and way will lead on to way. And that's the essence of Feed Your Life. And if you feed those things, what you will find is that you will have more energy in your life.
Because They give back.
Because they give back to you.
Energy.
You will be able to more creatively examine your got-to list and figure out how you can execute the got-tos in a way that brings you more joy.
Mm-hmm. And then I love that because then they become go-to lists. I go to it by choice.
That's right. That's right. I love it. Now that one I'm going to steal.
You can
from
take
your
that,
sister.
baby.
That came
from
my got-to list into a go-to list.
I'll go to it.
That's right. I'll go to it.
Right.
I'll go.
It's not driving me.
Right. And it's not draining me.
And it's not draining me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We look forward to hearing from Rebeccah in the weeks to come. See the latest blog and calendar of events and sign up for the new Feed Your Life workshop series. Learn more at InPowerInstitute.com. That's InPowerInstitute.com or email info@InPowerInstitute.com. I'm Jade Harrell. Let's Get It Together is made possible by the grace, mercy, and provision of our God. Each day, try Him, trust Him, and learn more in the BIBLE each day. Make Let's Get It Together your access to information, education, and opportunity. Subscribe to the podcast. Find information about our guests, news, notes, and video are ready for you at LGi2.com. That's LGi2.com.
This week, get a fresh new outlook. Let's get it together. Be inspired, informed, encouraged, and entertained. Let's get it together. In the classroom each day at 10 a.m. Information, access, and opportunity. Let's get it together.
Special thanks to Selena J., Anthony Wise, Robin Boyce, Al McDonald, the RareGem family, Harold, Clear Channel Radio, and Christopher Harrell.
Support for Let's Get It Together comes from the Kwame Building Group, delivering total value through pure construction and program management services.
From RareGem Productions, this is Let's Get It Together.